Quick warning that if you're not caught up on Season 9 of The Walking Dead and you're looking to avoid spoilers, I advise clicking off this video. So, with that out of the way, as we learned a couple months ago, Denai Gurira will be exiting The Walking Dead. And you know what? I don't blame her. With AMC's tight scheduling and cheap contracts, it makes much more sense for her to focus on her MCU character, Okoye. Not only does she make much more money for those movies, but they're much bigger now that The Walking Dead has lost most of its viewers. The MCU is the highest grossing movie franchise of all time, grossing more than Star Wars and Harry Potter have combined. So yeah, Denai jumping off ship is a good move, but what does it mean for the show? Well, with most of the characters everyone ever cared about gone, the show should probably end after season 10. Will it though? It's debatable. It's certainly taking a heavy blow in terms of viewership, being lower than it ever was before. But it's still AMC's moneymaker, and they really don't know how to let go of a show. At all. All they ever care about is money. If The Walking Dead were on a primetime network, it probably would have gotten pulled after season 8. So it could go either way, but just in case it ever does get canceled, the writers need to have a good ending planned for season 10. The worst thing they could possibly do is count on the show being renewed again and end season 10 with a cliffhanger of some sort. A show like The Walking Dead that was once huge that many fans have invested almost 10 years in needs to have a decent ending. However, because AMC relies so heavily on the show's success, I don't think it's going to get canceled after season 10, even though it probably should. But I do think it's going to end sometime soon, because there's really no way to reel viewers back in. Most of the fan favorites are gone, the quality still isn't as good as it once was, and the story is basically the same thing over and over again at this point. After 9 seasons, it makes sense that the show becomes repetitive. Most shows don't go on for this long. I wouldn't want Game of Thrones to go on much longer than it is. Lost didn't have to go on for as long as it did. So yeah, with the show offering up nothing new and most of the core cast being gone, there's no point in continuing the show. Viewership will just continue to decline. Now you might ask, if the show were to end after season 10, how should it end? And that's a damn good question. As I said, the writers should end it big just in case it does get canceled. So here's my idea of how the overall story arc of season 10 should go and how it should end. Much of the season should be about the Whisperer War, and they should lead the largest herd of walkers ever seen on the show to leave what's left of the communities in ruins. Most of the useless background characters should finally get killed off, leaving just a couple characters at the end, including Daryl, Carol, Negan, who's definitely my favorite of the remaining characters, Judith, Jerry, Sadiq, maybe Ezekiel, and maybe Alden. Eugene, Rosita, and Gabriel are just useless at this point. All last season, I was talking about how much they just need to go. No one cares about them anymore. It's been that way since season 7. Now, the fact that no one cares about them anymore is not the actors' faults. They're all pretty good actors. They're just not given any character development anymore to make their characters interesting or worth watching. They finally got rid of Tara and Enid, who I also included on that list. Aaron is a little different. He's still a great character, but he hasn't really done much. In fact, he's barely had any screen time at all recently, so sometimes I just forget about him. So anyway, onto my idea of a good ending. With those 6, maybe 8 characters that I named surviving, we get another big time jump, much longer than the last one, and by this time, most of the walkers will have all completely decomposed. All that's left are the undead people who most recently died. But I think by this time, it'll just become some sort of natural occurrence. Whenever someone dies, the others know to put them down. So civilization would probably be built up again, just with a different death routine that people now know how to deal with. I'm not sure there's going to be any sort of cure at this point. I think it would be too unrealistic and cliche, so I think this idea is much more plausible. And that could be a good ending for the show. I originally thought of an ending where just Negan and Judith get out alive and the show ends with the two of them walking into the distance. And my first theory could play out the exact same way with just those two making it out alive. Plus, it would make for a really sad ending if Daryl sacrificed himself for Judith. Though if that'd be too emotional since he's been the fan favorite since the beginning, I'd also be fine with the other way around. Negan sacrificing himself and Daryl and Judith living out their lives at the end. It'd be a good way for Negan to conclude his story arc as well. Though I wouldn't want either of them to die unless it was in the series finale, because they're the 2 most valuable characters left. Probably the only 2 I really care about at this point. Anyway, one other thing that could happen at the end that'd be really awesome is Rick returning, but I doubt it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Andrew Lincoln's off the show for good. It's a shame. But anyway, I still like the idea I came up with, and that's really all I had to say for this video. If you have another idea of how the show should end, let me know down in the comments. Do you agree that it should end soon? Do you think that it will? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. I'd also love to hear which characters you miss the most and if you're still watching the show or not. And with all that said, I'll see you all next time.